Hey guys, this is Sean, and I'm coming back to you with my chapter 5 of my book, Saving Your Future. So this week we're going to discuss buying a house. So now that you've kind of got your rainy day fund in control, you're saving for retirement, you're moving through life a little bit, and it's time to buy a house. So you have to ask yourself first, I'm an advocate of buying a house, but are you in a situation or do you live in a certain area where maybe it's better to rent. So you say, okay, well, I'm not sure whether I'm staying in this area for the next couple of years. Who knows where I'm going to be? I'm still unsure. Well, what does it cost to rent a place? And what does it cost for a mortgage? So you might say, well, hey, I got a really good deal living in a friend's, basement. I got the whole place to myself. Or I got an apartment I share with a friend of mine and, paying 500, 700, 1,000, whatever it is per month, and if I were to buy a house, I'd be paying, so much more than that. So it doesn't really fit my needs right now. That makes sense. Then you're not ready to buy a house yet, and maybe it isn't time to do that. But if you're thinking it is, one of the things you need to consider is, where do you really see yourself? Do you see yourself being in that particular house for a certain period of time? Is your credit good? Do you have a down payment? And truly, can I really afford this house? There's many calculators out there. You can search the internet for the term, how much house can I afford? Or what can I afford as far as a house goes? Check this information out and decide what you can truly afford. Try to keep your expenses for home at about 30% of your annual salary. So that means your monthly mortgage payments, should be and the amount per year should be no more than 30% of your annual salary. The problem that many people got into when they lost their houses before, and even to this day, is everybody wants that big dream house, and it's a great ambition, but is it practical for you? Can you really afford that? Here are my expenses. I have to pay for my car payment. I have to pay for my insurance. I have to save for retirement. I have to do all these things. And this is what I have left for housing. Keep in mind that if you're renting, if your rent is, let's just say, $1,000 a month, and you're having no trouble paying that, and you're putting another $1,000 a month away, at least you could spend $2,000 a month on a mortgage payment and still be safe. But keep in mind, again, going back to my video on the rainy day fund, do you have enough money set aside that if, the house needs a new roof, the air conditioning unit goes, a pipe bursts, whatever it might be, do you have the money that you'd be able to handle paying for these things? Yeah, you have insurance to cover certain things, but there's a lot that it doesn't. Can I do that and not break the bank? If I lost my job for a month, would I still have enough money to, make them, a month, 2 months? Do I still have enough money to make those mortgage payments? Am I sitting comfortably in a situation where, even though I have to make a monthly mortgage payment, I still have money to put aside for retirement. I still have money to do the certain other things I have. My financial goals are still within reason. I can't simply rely on my house. Another mistake that people made and continue to make is, oh, the equity in my house went up by $20,000. That means I can borrow against my house and, use that money to go on vacation. Bad idea. Don't do that. Because if you keep borrowing against your equity, you just keep increasing the amount that you owe, and eventually the amount of payments that you have to make is just going to be way too high, and you won't have that money to spend on something else. Then there's a question of a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. There's a question of making extra payments toward your mortgage each month versus just paying it over the particular time period. So 2 things to consider on the 15 versus 30. How much more is it per month? And do you feel comfortable that making the payments in that shorter period of time would work? There's also 20-year loans as well. Conventional is 30. Some people do 15. I've done, each. One of the things to consider too is, would you maybe do a 30-year and just make payments, extra payments? Throw $500 this month or $100 more every month pay down your mortgage a little bit more. Then there's people out there like, say, Rick Edelman, who argues you shouldn't pay down your mortgage early. And one of the reasons why maybe you shouldn't, and again, it depends on your circumstance, depends on what you're going to do. One reason not to pay your mortgage off early is if your interest rate is so low and you can invest that money in something else. So, for example, let's say your mortgage rate is 3.5%. And there's an investment that you can invest in that's returning 4, 5, 6%. Well, if you take $100 and put that down on a mortgage, you're saving yourself, that extra $100 is saving you 3.5% or whatever I said the interest rate was. If instead you take that $100 and put it in an investment that earns 5% or 6% or 10%, then it was a better place to put your money because you're investing your money at 5, 6, 10%. Versus investing at 3.75, 3.5%, whatever your mortgage is. So it might make sense if your interest rate is low enough to take a longer mortgage, take the 30-year mortgage, and take that extra spending money, that extra cushion, and put that in a rainy day fund, put that in an investment, put that in a retirement savings so that you're comfortable paying that mortgage. The other question is, how long are you going to live in that house? Do you need that 30-year mortgage? And generally, the 30-year mortgage is going to be a higher interest rate than a 15-year mortgage, and which is generally going to be higher than a 5-year ARM. So you don't want to be in the 5-year ARM and then be in the house for 10, 15 years, and rates go up in that period of time to way higher than where you are. But at the same time, it might make sense if you're only going to live in the house 3 to 5 years to have the lowest rate you possibly can. So a lot of different things we cover in this book. If there's any questions that you have with respect to buying a house, feel free to comment below. Ask any question you'd like. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. And please consider taking a look at my book, Saving Your Future. It is available on Amazon. And I appreciate a like on the video and share it with friends and family. Take a look at some of my other videos as I'm going through each and every chapter of the book, doing a video on each one. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.